Welcome to Sakshi Manasakshi. My name is Shweta Karnati and you're watching the show Spiritual Awakening. As always, we brought a very interesting and today we have a very deep and depthful topic with us. That is nothing but the Darwinism extinct. To talk about this topic and give us very much knowledge about this, we have Mr. Sarvajay Madhavdas Garu. So let's begin today's show. Hello, sir.
Hello, hi, how are you? Hare Krishna. Thank you so
I'm good,
much.
sir. Thank you.
Let me start with the prayers. This prayer is for all of you. So please listen to the prayers and take the benefit of these prayers and then we'll start the topic. Namo Om Shuddhaya Krishna Shimte Japtak Samti Namne Namo Acharya Padayani Takapadayani Kaurapata Damja Nagar Kamtarine Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Abhutale Shimte Bhaktivedanta Swami Namne Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvasesa Sunyavadi Paschatadi Sitarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hukum Karoti Vacharam, Pangun Langayate, Grimjat Kripato Hamande, Shri Guru Dinitaranam, Paramananda Madham, Shri Chaitanyeshram, Hare Om Tassa. Thank you so much. So today's topic, Darwinism extinct, is a very interesting topic. Growing up, we heard so much about the theory of we came from monkeys, as per our dear Darwin theory, but most of the schools have thrown out this philosophy. They're not, using this philosophy anymore because with latest science, they have proved that life comes from life in many ways. So we want to understand this because a lot of times even kids have questions that where did we come from? So whether we came from matter or antimatter. So it is a good topic for children, it's a good topic for parents so that they can answer the questions of their children that where did we exactly came from. So we have a lot of information to share. So let's start. So this is a conversation actually between Srila Prabhupada, who's ISKCON founder Acharya, accompanied by Dr. Singh, Karandhara Das Adhikari, Brahmananda Swami, and other students. This happened on April 19, 1973 in Shavite Hills Park, Los Angeles. So this is a conversation, question answers. So let's go through this. And then if there is if you have time, we'll have question answers. Srila Prabhupada, the material world is composition of three qualities, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, goodness, passion, and ignorance, which are working everywhere. These three qualities are present in various proportions in all species of life. For example, some trees produce nice fruit, while others are simply meant for fuel. This is due to the association of particular qualities of nature. Among animals, also, these three qualities are present. The cow is in the quality of goodness, the lion in passion, and the monkey is ignorance. According to Darwin, Darwin's father is a monkey. He has theorized foolishly because that's what Darwin has been telling. We all came from apes. So Dr. Singh is asking a question. Darwin has said that some species become extinct in the struggle for survival. Those which are capable of surviving will survive, but those which are not will become extinct. So he says survival and extinction go side by side. This is the comment from Dr. Singh. Now Srila Prabhupada replies to this, nothing is extinct. The monkey is not extinct. Darwin's immediate forefather, the monkey, is still existing. Is it correct or no?
That's true. Yeah.
Yes, we still see monkeys and we see human beings together. It's not like monkeys transformed into human beings and monkeys extinct. That does not happen. Srila Prabhupada, nothing is extinct. The monkey is not extinct. Darwin's immediate forefather, the monkey, is still existing. Is a good statement. Karandhara, Darwin said there must be a natural selection, but selection means choice. So who is choosing? If you want to select something, there has to be somebody who is choosing, right? Srila Prabhupada, that must be a person who is allowing someone to survive and someone to be killed. There must be some authority with discretion to give such an order. That is our first proposition. who that authority is explained in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, Maya Dakshina Prakriti. Nature is working under my supervision. This is from Bhagavad Gita 9.10. So we have a proof from the scriptures that Krishna is telling everything is working under my order. Right? Dr. Singh, Darwin also says that the different species were not created simultaneously, but evolved gradually. This is quite interesting. See what Prabhupada says. Srila Prabhupada, then what is his explanation for how the process of evolution began? Karandhara point, modern proponents of Darwinism say that the first living organism was created chemically. That means first living being is created by chemicals. Srila Prabhupada, and I say them, if life originated from chemicals and if your science is so advanced, then why can't you create life by chemically in your laboratories? So if you are saying something, you can still do it, right? If they say the life comes from chemicals, then there are chemicals still available. Create life, correct? So in the future is what they were saying. The scientists were saying in the future. Karandhara, they say they will create life in the future. Srila Prabhupada, what future? When this crucial point is raised, they reply, we shall do it in the future. Why in the future? That is nonsense. Trust no future, however pleasant. If they are so advanced, they must demonstrate now how life can be created from chemicals. Otherwise, what is the meaning of their advancement? They are talking nonsense. Karandhara, they say that they are right on the verge of creating life. Srila Prabhupada, that's only a different way of saying the same thing. In the future, the scientists must admit that they still do not know the origin of life. They claim that they will soon prove a chemical origin of life is something like paying someone with a post-dated check. Suppose I give you a post-dated check for $10,000, but I actually have no money. What is the value of that check? Scientists are claiming that their science is wonderful, but when a practical example is wanted, they say they will provide it in the future. Suppose I say that I possess millions of dollars, and when you ask me for some money, I say, yes, I will now give you a big post-dated check. Is that all right? Right? It's not all right, right? If you are intelligent, you will reply, at present, give me at least $5 in cash, so I can see something tangible. Similarly, the scientists cannot produce even a single blade of grass in their laboratories. Yet they are claiming that life is produced from chemicals. What is this nonsense? Is no one questioning this? Question mark. So Karandhara, they say the life is produced by chemical laws. Srila Prabhupada, as soon as there is a law, you must take into consideration that someone made the law. Law by itself does not exist, right? Someone has to make the law. Despite all their so-called advancement, the scientists in their laboratories cannot produce even a blade of grass. What kind of scientists are they? If they cannot even produce a blade of grass, what they can produce? They cannot, technically. Dr. Singh, they say that in the ultimate analysis, everything came from matter. Living matter came from non-living matter. Basically, what they are trying to say here is, from stone, an ant came, or from a stone, life came. Is it possible? Stone is antimatter, right? Stone is matter, and antimatter is life. Srila Prabhupada, then where is this living matter coming from now? Do the scientists say that life came from matter in the past but does not at present? Where is the ant coming from now? From the dirt? So if you really think about a birth of an ant, does ant come from a stone, from a dirt, from a mountain? The birth of an ant. What is the secret of birth of an ant? How does ant form? How does ant come into existence? From other ant, right? But it's not coming from just a stone. That never heard, nobody heard of. But here they're saying it came from matter. It's like saying that the ant came from stone. Who will believe? Even children will not believe. So there's a missing link, Prabhupada is saying. Dr. Singh, in fact, there are several theories explaining how life originated from matter. How living matter came from the non-living. This is what Dr. Singh is saying. Srila Prabhupada, casting Dr. Singh in the role of materialistic scientist. All right, scientists, why is life not coming from matter now? If you're saying life came from the matter in the past, why is it not happening now? Good question, right? And here Prabhupada takes little serious and he says, you rascal, why isn't life coming from matter now? Actually, such scientists are rascals. They childishly say that life came from matter, although they are not at all able to prove it. Our Krishna conscious movement should expose all these rascals. They are only bluffing. And please don't take the word rascal negatively. This rascal word is told by a father to his children, a spiritual master to this, fallen scientists who are not understanding this. So it's not a totally negative way, but in a chastising way to correct them. Why don't they create life immediately? In the past, they say life arose from matter, and they say that will happen again in the future. They even say that they will create life from matter. What kind of theory is this? They have already commented that life began from matter. This refers to past. Began, right? Life came from matter. Then why do they now speak of the future? Is it not contradictory? They are expecting the past to occur in the future. That is childish nonsense. It's like, I'll give you an example. Yesterday I made chapati. I'm just giving a simple example of ours. Today I don't know how to make chapati, but tomorrow again I'll make chapati. But today I don't know how to make it. How is that possible? You made yesterday, so you know already how to make it. Then why are you telling future I'll make again? Now I cannot make. Does it make sense? It does not make any sense. Karandara, they say that life arose from matter in the past and that they will create life this way in the future. This is all, bogus. Srila Prabhupada, what is this nonsense? If they cannot prove that life arises from matter in the present, how do they know life arose this way in the past? Very good point. Dr. Singh, they are assuming. You know what is the meaning of assuming? You can assume anything. You can assume something, but that has no value. Assumptions does not have any value. It's not reality. It's your own assumptions. Srila Prabhupada, everyone can assume, but this is not science. Science means facts, right? Everyone can assume something. You can assume something, I can assume something, but there must be proof. We can prove that life arises from life. For example, if a father begets a child, the father is living and the child is living. But where is their proof that a father can be dead, stone? Where is their proof? We can easily prove that life begins from life. We see that every day. A mother gives birth to a child. So life is coming from life. An animal also giving birth to, child. So we are seeing the cycle of life. Life comes from life, correct? It's very easy to understand this. Life comes from life. But life comes from matter is very difficult to understand. And the original life is Krishna. That also can be proven. But what evidence exists that a child is born of stone? Who will believe this? Even a fifth standard will laugh at this, right? They cannot actually prove that the life comes from matter. They are leaving that aside for the future. Future, they're going to prove that life comes from matter. In the past, they are saying that life came from water, but now they don't know anything. Who will believe, right? Karandara, the scientists say that they can now formulate acids, amino acids, that are almost like one-celled living organism. They say that because these acids so closely resemble living beings, there must be just one missing link needed before they can create life. And just కొన్ని chemicals miss చేసేసి they're trying to create a life and they say they're just one simple thing is missing or tomorrow will create life. Tomorrow. That tomorrow will not come for another 10,000 years also. Because it's not possible to bring life from a stone. You cannot bring a child, grown, this complicated body from a stone. It's like saying in the desert you found a Rolex watch. It came from the desert. Automatically it came. Who will believe? Nobody will believe, right? It's so complicated. We are more complicated than a watch. Do you think we can come from the matter? No. Srila Prabhupada, nonsense, missing link. I will challenge them to their face. They are missing this challenge. The missing link is this challenge to their face. Nobel Prize for an donkey, basically, ass. Dr. Singh, some scientists hope that in the future, they will be able to make babies in test tube. This is an interesting point. Srila Prabhupada, test tubes, question mark. Dr. Singh, yes, they intended to combine male and female elements into biological laboratories. Srila Prabhupada, if they begin with living entities, what is the purpose of test tube? It is only a place of combination, but so is in the womb. Where is the credit for scientists if this is already being done in the nature's test tube? His mother's womb is already happening. So what is the question of you trying to do the same thing in the test tube, but actual ingredient is given by male, right? Kandara, it is already being done by nature. But when some scientist does it, people will give him the Nobel Prize. Same thing mother does, no Nobel Prize. But if you do it in a test tube, you get a Nobel Prize. Srila Prabhupada, yes, that is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam. Swavid varo hostraha karya samstuta purusa pasuhu. 4. This verse indicates that those who praises men who are like animals are no better than dogs, hawks, camels, and asses. Swa means dog. Vid varaha means stool-eating hog, like pig. Ustra means camel. And khara means ass. If the Nobel Prize is given to a scientist who is a rascal, and men on the committee who give him that prize are no better than dogs, hogs, camels, and asses. And this is not Prabhupada saying, this is from the scriptures. We don't accept them as human beings. One animal is praised by another animal. Where is the credit in that? If the men on the committee are no better than animals, anyone who receives the Nobel Prize in the science is fool number one, because animals are praising him, not human beings. If one person is wrong, other person is giving award to him, he is wrong, technically, correct? Dr. Singh, for some scientists, the Nobel Prize is the ultimate. The scientist's goal in life is to win Nobel Prize for their inventions. Srila Prabhupada, they are rascals. They are speaking nonsense, and because they are juggling words, others are being misled. This is a very important point to understand. If we mislead our own children with this kind of knowledge, is it beneficial for the world? Somebody has to correct it. We are not against scientists who are sharing facts, or talking facts. Science is good as far as you share facts. Science is horrible when you just speculate, when you assume, when you just show dreams, when you give post-dated checks. What is the use of a post-dated checks if you don't have anything in your bank? Right? Is that value to anybody? It has no value for anybody. Brahmananda Swami. Noble is the person who invented dynamites. So this is what Brahmananda is saying. Srila Prabhupada, he has created great misfortune, and he has left his money for creating further misfortune. You're creating dynamite. What is the use of that? It's actually dangerous for the world, right? But they give him award. Brahmananda Swami. The Gita says that demoniac people perform acts meant to destroy the world. So he's trying to correct that. So this information is coming from Life Comes from Life. There's a book called Life Comes from Life. This entire information, what I told you, is coming from that. So we have to understand that life comes from life. And it also says we are all made in the image of God. So God is not a stone. He's a living being, right? So when we are coming in the image of God, we are also like being. We are human beings. We have life. So life comes from life. Life does not come from matter. And we should not believe that the life comes from matter.
What I have gone through, very vaguely is that we all look at the extinction, uh, with a horror kind. And when Darwin has explained it in his own terms, he took it as a very ordinary and something very much important for the evolutionary change. So how do we look at that point?
We should always look at the information from the eyes of scriptures. We should not look from our own eyes, mind, senses. Our senses are imperfect. We have tendency to cheat. There are a lot of defects in us. When you look at sun from here, can you tell the correct distance of the sun? Can you tell the size of the sun? I'm in the room right now. The minute the lights is turned off completely, and I'm in like midnight, it's dark, there's no lights around here, I cannot even see the computer, right? So what is the use of my senses? My senses are dependent. Now I have white light, I see you in a different color. But suppose the same room light is red, dark red, I'll see you in a different color. You understand? So our senses cannot give us a clear picture. But have you ever heard Bhagavad Gita version 1, Bhagavad Gita version 2, Bhagavad Gita version 3, Vedas version 1, Veda version 2, Veda version 3, Veda version 11, like iPhone and all those latest gadgets? Have you ever heard the version?
No.
So what does it tell us? What does that mean?
You mean to say it's one single thing that it actually answers everything, for the coming generations.
Isn't it what we want? We want a knowledge which is concrete, which is eternal, which is not changing every time. Like one thing I hear today, and after 5 years the knowledge is changed. What kind of knowledge is that? It has no value. We want to know the knowledge which is eternal, which is pakka, guaranteed. Once you hear, you should have faith in that knowledge. You should have total trust in the knowledge. That is coming from scriptures. And there are a lot of people who are interpreting scriptures. Like Krishna told in Bhagavad Gita, Sarva dharman parityaja mamekam sharnam amtam sarva papebhyo mokshasyami masucha. So very clear language he has given. Give up all dharmas, Arjuna. Just surrender to me. I'm the one who's going to relieve you from all sinful reactions and give you liberation. And last he says, do not fear. So now you understood it very clearly what Krishna said. I understood it very clearly what Krishna said, because we did not try to interpret what Krishna is saying. But there are a lot of people, what they say, oh, no. Krishna is not telling surrender to Krishna. Krishna is telling surrender to unborn within Krishna. And some people will say, no, Krishna is there everywhere. So you just surrender to yourself. You don't have to worry about Krishna. Have you seen Krishna? Why do you have to surrender to Krishna? You just surrender to yourself. Or they'll say, surrender to me. I'm right in front of you. Krishna is saying, surrender to your person who is guiding you. Don't surrender to Krishna. I'm here. I'm like Krishna. You surrender to me. Some people say like that. I was Rama. I was Krishna. Now I'm Ajmeri Baba. I saw one place in India, while driving, I see this sign. I was Ram, I was Krishna, now I'm Ajmeri Baba. Come, surrender to me. Very, very important is scriptures don't lie, but there are some scriptures which are interpreted by a lot of people. You have to be careful. You have to use your common sense to understand. So again and again, I recommend everybody to read Bhagavad Gita as it is. There are 700 plus Bhagavad Gita versions on the planet. But one of the best Bhagavad Gita is Bhagavad Gita as it is. And why it is important? Krishna is telling surrender to me. Okay? Prabhupada is telling surrender to Krishna. Is there any difference?
It's the same.
The meaning is same. There's no difference. Whatever Krishna is saying, Prabhupada is saying exactly same things. And what this Bhagavad Gita as it is, Prabhupada has given, he has given word to word meaning of every Sanskrit word what Krishna spoke. So Krishna says Sarva Dharma. So Prabhupada says, what is the meaning of Sarva Dharma in English? And this Bhagavad Gita is available in more than 50 languages, I think, right now. Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Chinese, Arabic, Russian, Spanish, many languages. So you can see word to word meaning. Krishna spoke something, Prabhupada translated that, and Prabhupada is just elaborating what Krishna said. Is that interpretation? It is supporting what Krishna said. It's not changing what Krishna said. That is important. That's very, very important. When you learn this knowledge from bona fide acharya, from bona fide scriptures, your life is definitely going to be successful. And I'll tell you one secret. If you have sincere desire in your heart, you will find sincere spiritual master. You will find right bona fide, scriptures. But if your desire itself is, corrupted a little bit, you have desire to do something else, but you are trying to do something, then guess what? Whatever you wish, Krishna will say tadastu. You want to be cheated, Krishna will send you cheaters. So most important thing is your desire. You should have a sincere desire. Ask like an innocent child, Lord Krishna, please give me your blessing so that I can understand Bhagavad Gita. I can understand the science of self-realization. I can understand what is soul, what is Paramatma, what is Bhagwan. With your mercy only I can understand. With that kind of attitude, when you surrender, I guarantee you, Lord will send right person in front of you. You will meet the right people and your journey begins. So my humble request to all of you today is make a sincere desire. We can only desire. After that, activity will automatically follow. Our strength is to make a desire. And use our strength to make it a sincere desire.
It's a very interesting topic. We can go further, but the time is always a matter for us. And thank you so much for sharing this information with us, sir. And I hope you all enjoyed today's show. And please keep watching TV and gain more knowledge about the spiritual topics that we always share with you. We always have Sarvajay Madhav Das Garu to give us all the information that he has with interesting topics. I hope you all enjoyed today's show. And this is Shweta signing off for now. And you're watching Sakshi Manasakshi.